Thanks for staying with us. So an unidentified couple were sighted on the streets of Victoria Garden City, VGC, in Lagos, holding hands while they were walking around naked. And I said naked, stark naked. I was going to say butt naked, actually, but stark naked. According to unconfirmed reports, the couple were allegedly on hard drugs. They slit each other's wrists, claiming they would rise again in 3 days.
Ew.
Now, this is a cause for concern, not just for us as parents, but for our community, when two grown adults are walking around naked within an estate in a highbrow area of Lagos State. Not just because of that, but because of the continued issues we have concerning hard drugs consumption amongst our youth, amongst our teenagers. These people can be more than 25, between 20 and 25-year-olds. These are young kids. Now, they were accosted by people within the estate, recording them, stopping them, trying to understand where are you going, where are you coming from. And they kept, obviously they were high. And they kept telling those guys to follow them. Stark naked, head to toe, nothing. Somehow, at some point, we saw the video where they were on the bed. We don't know exactly what happened. We're still hoping that we'll get full reports. But it's an opportunity to discuss hard drugs, illicit drugs within our communities, within all top-down, top to bottom, every area, every nook and cranny of our state. What are your thoughts on this? What are your own experiences? Did you see this video? We're going to try to show it. I know it's a bit graphic. We're trying to see if our producers can help us blur it a bit for TV. But if not, it's on social media. Have you seen this before? Have you experienced people down high that have no idea who they're hallucinating because they're on drugs? Share with us your story so that parents and community can see the degree of what we're dealing with here. Call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390, and the numbers are on your screen. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourView TVC so we can read your tweets. YK, let me start with you.
The brain. The brain is, I think, the most complex part of the human body. The brain controls every part of it's with the brain that you lift your hands. With the brain,
it's the power switch.
And once you start to imbibe these things that are more than what your brain can take, it triggers something. So what is happening to our young people is there are no checks and balances. They've gone haywire, you know, and they're taking these things. I don't know what they were on. I really don't know what they were on. But whatever they were on, they were hallucinating. They thought they were in Garden of Eden. Maybe because VGC is a garden.
That could be it, YK.
Yeah.
Because we're in Garden of Eden. Because they were butt naked, Adam and Eve. Totally naked.
You know, and people were alarmed and they didn't seem alarmed. That people were alarmed. They were just like, maybe they were even seeing those people as part of the animals. You know, before they now entered and then slid their wrist that they are going to rise in 3 days. So they were now even tripping that they were like Jesus Christ himself.
From Adam to Jesus. You don't add this story. Why can't you modify this story?
I get when you are going to rise after 3 days.
Who are you imitating?
What does that mean? So it's so, for me, I hope that it's treated with they are obviously disturbed. I don't think you should be.
I mean, part of the reports,
criminals. They are not criminals.
Part of the reports is that they were taken to the hospital, were sedated, so hopefully they're under treatment as we speak. We don't have the reports to know how far they go, but we're going to follow this story to know exactly where they are. But Mariam, your thoughts when you see young Nigerian children walking naked in VGC?
Very sad. Very sad. I know I have, well, it's truly sad because even though these two are the ones we are seeing on social media as of today, I have seen other cases. There was someone in my employment that had to let go because he came back one day and obviously had been on something. And it took 2 days before we even understood what was wrong with this person. And when you talk to these young people, drug has become so mainstream. It's something they go down the road and pick up. Someone delivers to them. And that is my fear, that if we do not do something quickly, in a few years, 5 to 10 years, these are going to be the adults that will be taking decisions. They'll be the drivers for our children, taking our children to school, behind the wheel of our cars. They'll be in offices, supposed to do proper work, doctors and nurses, and then they have a drug habit. We need to do something quickly. And that's why it's important that when we talk about drug abuse, the war against drug abuse, we must look for those, the cartel that have decided to make a living or a business from selling drugs to young people. There was a particular case, I can't talk about that too much because I think it's in court back and forth on if this person is guilty. But most of these big-time drug barons, they have so much money and so much influence, it's hard to nab them and lock them up. And I hope that the federal government can give NDLEA all the support that it needs to catch these big timers, because those ones bring these things in bulk and they have so many distributors just taking it in and out to our children. The other part for our children is parenting and then speaking up and showing our children these videos. Because what our children normally see is the story of, oh, when I take this thing as a musician, the lyrics just keep coming. It helps my creativity. It also makes you behave like a foolish person on the street. You slit your throat, you think you will die and rise up, and, the third day. I saw a video recently of someone who had taken drugs and wanted to fly off a place because they believed they could fly. This is the result of taking drugs. It's not glamorous in any way. It makes you look foolish. It makes you look stupid. If you have friends that are doing it, separate yourself from that friend. It's a habit also that is hard to break. So it's not something that, okay, let me just try it today and tomorrow, and then I will stop. You find yourself right in a hole that you can't get out of.
I see. There's even the seriousness that our government is taking. I know NDLEA is doing its best. But you see, these are problems that have been solved in many countries. We've had the cabals, like you said earlier, the mafias. These are drug cartels internationally from Brazil, And these are things that countries have worked on for many years. They're templates that we can use to replicate to fix some of these problems. These are not new problems in communities. So NDLEA cannot do it alone. Every level, every community, local government again. Local government, these are things government within that is closest to the people deal with. You don't wait for an NDLEA from Abuja to come. You as a local government chairman, you as a community market leader, you as a community ward leader, these are the things you should be looking at. But I think come to BC.
Drugs are a problem everywhere in the world. No country has eradicated it. Of course. It's not possible. Even in the US of A, you will see them. You see boys. Go to New York City, you see them passing. Some. It's everywhere. But I want to look at it from a place of how we uphold our culture and the culture that serves us. So culture basically is a way of life. And I would like us to begin to ask ourselves questions. Which cultures have worked for us? Which one are we going to discard that no longer serves us? Which one are we going to take on? Which one are we going to protect? And I remember that growing up, it wasn't easy to see a 20-year-old who's living alone. You finish school, you will be in your parents' house till you're ready to get married. Even the men, their parents' house till it's time for them to get married, then they get a place and then they move out. So we had that sort of system that played a very pivotal role in checking and balancing us. You are responsible. You won't just wake up, even as a 20-something-year-old, and I'm going out, I'm hanging out, I'm sleeping out, and you will not tell your parents. You dare not. We had those. And it sort of helped us not fall astray in a way that if you start exhibiting certain things, there are people to call you and say, why is your eye red? Why are you just coming back by this time? Where are you coming from? Where are you going to? We had people to respond to. We had people to be accountable. People were there to hold us, our immediate family members, our cousins, our aunts. We had that. It was a system that worked for us. I'm just afraid that this, our wokeness, will not lead us to hell. The hell that we cannot handle. Because we're becoming so woke that at 18, you have graduated from school and everything. Mom, I'm moving out. And then you move out. The way life is, you have not even mastered yourself. You may have gone to school, but you are not mature to handle yourself alone. And then you can go to clubs and do whatever you are doing. Some people will leave their village or setting and come to a place like in the city. They rent an apartment. They are staying alone. There is nobody to hold them responsible for anything. And we feel we are, and that's how they do it in the Western world. You know, at 18, you're supposed to move out of, like, will it work for us? Are we ready for that kind of, like, hold on, no. I know that countries like India, they found a way, that's their family community. They're still, even no matter the westernization that comes there, they're still holding on to it. They have that. The Chinese, they have a culture they're holding on to. They're very communal. Should we go back to how things were being done? In the sense that these children, we think because you are 18, you are mature. Most of them are not mature. Most of them, because I do not understand why you will look at all the disadvantages of taking drugs. Everything it does to your head. I was researching this morning. It said the first thing is a sense of euphoria. You feel high. A heightened sense of visual, auditory, and taste. You have that. Increased blood pressure and heart rate. Dry eyes, dry mouth, decreased coordination. Why will I, as a normal human being, want to have decreased coordination? We don't see the disadvantages. Difficulty concentrating or remembering. A sensible person will not want to have that. Anxiety or paranoid thinking. I, one-on-one, have experienced a family member growing up who was into a form of addiction. And the low was low, like hellfire low. When the high is there, he's drinking, he's having fun, everybody feels good. When he goes low the next morning, you will feel like you just want to die. You cannot stand to be around that person. I have experienced it. So why do I want to take myself down that line? So we need to look at our culture.
I hear that. We'll come to that because there are two sides of that coin. The lifestyle of independence helped me. It helped me to mature early.
You get it.
I need to even
we'll talk about it when we come back. We'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing these two adults, young adults. I think our video will be ready in a moment so that we can show Nigerians what we saw and why we're discussing this. But before the break, Raiki was trying to respond to BC's point that letting your children leave so early might be detrimental to their growth.
I wanted to just, you see, what has happened is that we have failed in all spheres of life in Nigeria. Whether it is from the adult, whether it's from government to, whether it is from human beings to adults, every system has, look, my daughter showed me a picture of someone who I know who was taking a picture, who was doing a video on Instagram, I think. And one of the people inside that was a young girl, she's 21, she's driving a Porsche. Now, tell me, I know that when I was growing up, if I come home with
singlet,
that is not my own. I will explain where did I get it from. Who gave me the money to buy this thing? Parents were more involved with what their children were doing. But now we are living, so yes, we can blame these young kids, but who are their parents? You start from there. Because Moran will not say, I'm going to government. Then you go to government. Who is governing these foolish parents? We have broken everything. We have broken down everything. Everything is broken down. Corruption is normal.
Mikey, have we left our own responsibility to government again?
No,
we can't say government is the one that is
I say everything is normal.
Yeah.
A corrupt government is now normal.
Yeah.
You come, you have stolen money and you are hailed as a thief.
Yes, running for.
And whether if they charge you for 80 billion, whether they lock you and then they release you on technical grounds, you are still a hero.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You are a kidnapper, they know you are a kidnapper, you are a hero.
Yeah.
We have, all values are lost. And until these values, we find them again. This kind of thing is going to keep on happening.
Let me take this call from Taiwo. I'll come back to you. Taiwo, are you there? Hello, Taiwo, you're live.
Everyone.
Morning.
Hello, morning. Can you hear me?
Morning.
Yes, we can.
Good morning.
Yes, sorry.
Good morning.
Nice to talk to you all. So this is Taiwo. Morning, YK, Mariam,
Morning.
and
Good morning.
Mariah. So I think I'm just hearing about this particular incident just for the first time. But I don't know whether you have actually given it a thought, because I think I know maybe Moriam has talked about. Sorry, I know maybe, I'm watching on YouTube, so I'm like few hours behind. I'm talking about this past naked people, couple you talked about. That's the one I want to talk about. Have you thought of it that these people, I know maybe you talked about drugs, could it be like some people using voodoo, like, I don't know,
Voodoo?
like
Voodoo.
all these people that have been going around town recently? Have you actually thought of that as well? Because that's what I have been hearing that might have happened recently, that some people come out naked to the market and be doing all kind of stuff in maybe, I've read in Lagos, maybe somewhere in Lagos or maybe somewhere in Ogun State.
Taiwo, thank you so much. That's definitely an option. Because I know even in the video, somebody was saying that are these ritualists, are they trying to do some kind of jazz? We never know these things. They've been sedated. Maybe when they come back, to tell us exactly what happened. But it's quite painful for any parent to see. I mean, I just wonder whose parents these children are. I mean, like, how would you feel when you see your children are on the road walking butt naked? Now, so it could be drugs, it could be rituals, it could be anything. But either way, parenting has gone wrong.
Drugs, I feel that drugs is very much involved in these ritualistic things that happen. Because I don't think how any normal human being will carry out some of the things that they say these young people carry out in the name of rituals. You have to be brain dead sometimes for you to chase your mother. You know, we see that they chase their parents with knives, you know, trying to kill your own brother that you grew up with. You know, something has to be wrong. The idea, the point you are making about people living on their own being a problem, I don't agree. I don't totally agree with you because we know of people who use drugs in their parents' homes. Absolutely. We know people who have left home and are doing very well for themselves. We know circumstances in Nigeria especially has forced some people to leave home, not because they want to leave home to try and find, you know, something to do for themselves, to help themselves and help the family at home. And they are working hard. A drug user is a drug user, whether it's at home or out of home. The problem right now that's on our hands is we need to make the education and awareness and sensitization about drug abuse front and center. I always say this, when I was growing up, one of my earliest memories was going to different plays and stuff at the Jos University, University of Jos Theatre. There was this man that would come and do a play. It was just a single artist. He would act in various forms, talking about drugs. I remember in the auditorium, then they'll be like, half of us, you say no drugs. They don't say, no drugs, things like that. That thing is ingrained forever in my head. There were movies then, Nigerian movies, that showed the ills and the negative impact of drugs on young people that my mom made us watch forever in my brain, many years. And I feel that that's what we need to do with our children. We're constantly showing our children the glamorous side of the use of drugs. We need to show them the real side, what it actually does to you. We need to let children know and young people know that there's a difference between a creative person and a drug addict. Recently, I just can't remember this.
Let me pause you for a second while you're thinking of that, because I want to show the video. I'm told that the video is ready. Let's watch it.
VGC. I kid you not. This is not a joke. You guys are completely naked walking inside VGC. I kid you not. This is not a joke. This is right.
So that's the back end. Obviously, the guys with the film went in front of them and tried to stop them and said, who are you? Where are you going? What's this about? And they were just mum. They kept quiet. And they kept following them till they got to the house. I think it was gate 58 or D50 or something. And they got there and they moved in, and we didn't see anything happen afterwards until when we saw them on the bed. Then we saw blood. So the reports that came later was that they slit their wrists, saying that they were going to die and rise in 3 days.
So as I was saying, I know the reason I keep mentioning just the glamorous part of drug use and the fact that many musicians or artists use this, I'm hounding on it because everyone is on social media today, and for many people, these people are goals. Their lifestyle is the lifestyle we want. How they do whatever they do is what we want for ourselves. many people wake up, the first thing they pick up is their phone to see what Burna Boy is doing, to see what Wizkid is doing, Davido is doing. And when you find that some of these people who you follow and you look up to do things like that, you're encouraged, or a part of you, especially for a growing mind, a developing mind, thinks that's the right thing to do, or this is the way I would like to go. So we need the other part that will constantly remind young people, this would not lead you anywhere. There are consequences for taking drugs. There are consequences for illicit drug use. And until then, we may not get the sanity that we need in our society. Because what this leads to, apart from them running naked and slitting each other's throats, they become all sorts of things. Criminals become a nuisance in the community, kidnapping, banditry. For me, when you say people who have gone to a church to massacre people, they couldn't have done that with their brains working properly. They must have been drugged. Do you understand?
Yeah. So drugs
let's work hand in hand. Let's make it like an everyday issue where we remind people about the dangers of drug use.
Good morning, Magnus. Are you there?
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
For me, about the issue about parenting. The issue about parenting is gone. We're only having a feel of it right now. We're only having a feel of it right now because parents have left their responsibilities to schools. Parents have left their responsibilities to churches. Parents have left their responsibilities totally. And the result is what we're feeling right now. About government. These are government officials. Are they not from home? If you have family values,
can't hear you.
You're giving public office today. If you have a good family value and you're giving public office, if you go there, you know that you're coming from a home. Hello?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
We can hear you.
You will know. So all our governors, our local government chairmen, they are from home. And because they don't have family values, they go to the public and they show who they are. So for me,
Hello?
We lost.
Oh, we lost Kakom. BC, let me let you come in here.
Yes, so one of the reasons I mentioned the family system and support and us finding our way back to the culture that serves us is, I understand that some people can stay on their own, even as young adults. Their children, we are raising children, and all of them don't have the same brain. They don't all act the same way. Some are more mature than others, and you did not do anything different for them. You raise them the same way. But they all turn out different. And the majority, a few people may be able to stand on their own as, very young, and they're okay, they're doing well, they're able to, stay away from peer pressure. Does not mean that all of them would be able to. Does not mean that once you finish school, you are sent out into the world, you'll be able to stand. Some people still need more attention. Some young adults still need more guidance. And we understand that when this sort of drug thing starts happening, there are changes in behavior. People around you will notice. Imagine if you're staying alone and you've started taking drugs, and then sometimes you don't shave you don't take your bath, you don't show up at work, and there's nobody to say, auntie, what are you still doing in your room by this time? You should be at work. That is where the family comes in. I've seen families that they have one or two people in the family that does drugs, but then they get help because they are seeing that this person is changing. Why is your eye red today? What's happening? And those people easily get help. That was where I wanted to add that family part. Maybe we should look at it. But let's not forget the root cause of these drugs. Most of these children young adults just do this because they are seeking for pleasure. They just want to have fun. Some do it out of peer pressure. All my friends are doing it. Let me just try this today. And you try it. Unfortunately for you, you do not have the sort of coping mechanism to stay away from it, and you get addicted. Others use it as a way of hiding away from the problems of life. Not everybody has grown to a level where they can cope with difficult situations. Not everybody can accept failures. Some people fail, and the next minute they are depressed. Something goes the way they did not expect it to go, and the next minute they just want something that will help them feel lighter. So there are different reasons that people can get into drugs. Our job is to find those reasons, understand where those people are coming from, ask them those questions, help them with other coping mechanisms that are not addictive or that are not dangerous to them. So it's a very deep layer of solving these issues. While government is on their own end trying to, get these drug barons and arrest them and all of that. We as parents, as citizens, individuals need to do more about sensitizing the people on the need to. Life will always have its challenges.
Okay, let me take Yakub. Yakub, good morning. Are you there? Hello, Yakub, you're live. Hello, Yakub, are you there?
I think he's
pressure comes, I always remember, and I'm telling my own story because we've all been through this. I don't know what your stories are, but we've all been through this phase. When I left Nigeria and I go into the US where I'm free, I don't have any parents saying where I was going on. It was me, myself, and I. And I remember that time where I had a friend, we're trying to test cigarettes together. We bought a pack of cigarettes. We tried it, we smoked it, feeling like, nobody can tell me stop. But there's somewhere, at some point, you're able to have that restraint, saying, Mariah, no, this is not for you. Though I wasn't coughing, I didn't have an issue, I wasn't choking, I was very okay. I just knew that I wasn't doing it.
It's not for you.
I've said it also on this show. I have done alcohol. Yes, there was a time where I didn't have water in my fridge. It was always alcohol. I was able to put a stop to it. Say, you know what? Okay, I've had enough Corona Extra for my lifetime. I'm done. And I stopped it. So how do we raise our children? Because whether we like it or not, no matter how holy you raise your children, at some point they will test.
Yes.
But there's something at some point you be able to hold them enough to say, you know what? Okay, you've tested it. Okay, this is marijuana. Okay, I can't do it. I'm not going to. I don't want it. Or I can't smell it. I can't taste it. Are we giving our kids enough street knowledge, emotional intelligence to know when to stop? We pamper them so much. We don't throw them out. We protect them so much that when they face life issues or face these kind of challenges, they don't know how to stop it. They get absorbed into it.
Exposure. My mother, what she used to do with my siblings and I, was when they are showing these drug programs and what happens to people when you take cocaine, and my mother would call us, come and watch. This is what, sure you want to do it, this is what will happen to you if you do it. So you are aware. In this, we are hiding our children. We don't tell our children, oh, this is what will happen to you. Or show, like, I would use my grandson, my 4-year-old grandson. He doesn't like combing his hair. So what do? I bring the picture of the madman on the street. This is how you will be. You be like the madman on the street of Lagos. So we say, come my hair. I don't want to be like the madman on the street of Lagos.
But why can't there's a problem?
When you show...
Let me show you something. That's a picture that we have. But you see, the picture these teenagers have is a burner boy. The picture they have is what that Naira Mali. The picture they have is success, money, wealth, 30 billion in the bank, attached to this. So you're saying if I take drugs, I can still pay your bills. I can buy you YK. I can buy you a house in Malibu if I want to.
Please come and buy it for me. I will not say no. Let me tell you, I used to work with NDLA a few years back. May his soul rest in peace. I've forgotten his name. The commandant at the NDLA then. He died. He used to come to the shrine. He used to come to the shrine and he used to give drug education. He will show you. Say you want to. You are not my enemy. This is NDLA. We are trying to teach you. So programs like that. The guy used to come very regularly, maybe every 3 months. And he would show pictures.
Why shrine?
What's one of the places?
I don't know why shrine, but he came to shrine.
I'm just asking.
So I welcomed him. I was very happy to say, look, come and
come and
do this. And a lot of people attended the sessions. A lot of people did. And when you start to give people education and examples, not just, the example of the rich and successful and the rich and, like, my mother, she showed me what would happen to me if I would take cocaine. So I was never inclined to want to
try
do it.
Okay.
Do you know what?
Because you have the fear
what you
now.
said about the pictures, that's so important. And I feel that what we can do, especially for the much younger kids, is that their first picture that they see should be the real picture associated to this drug use. So I think what happened with me and why for me the drug would always be a negative, nothing about it is appealing, is because for me the first time I heard about drugs was from my mom telling me how bad it was. And every time since then in school, around me, in the community, then there used to just be a huge campaign about drug abuse. You would just see it everywhere. So even before I knew that some people in the glamour world used it for creativity. I'd already learned that this is what it can cause. And so that's what we need to do with our children. We should be careful not to overprotect them. Tell them what these things are. Show them the real pictures of what happens. By the time they're old enough to start consuming the other type of content, they already have a background of where.
You know, one of the pictures I had, Miriam, when I was not when I was so young, when I was an adult, was God rest his soul, Majek Fashek.
Yes.
Majek Fashek used to come to my house in Bronx, Davidson Avenue. And then he used to be in New York, and he would come to our house, and all his teeth, gone. And he would come there and he'd be playing music, and and all his colleagues and from the clubs, they come to the house there. And I had all brothers. They came, for those of you that know Davidson Avenue, everybody knew our house there. And he would come, they'd be playing music, and they were all on, you could see they were all under the influence. And it was just clear that I cannot be like this.
Decided for yourself.
It was so clear. Many years fast forward, obviously, he got rehabilitated, but we then eventually saw. But then he hadn't even gotten this bad. So those were the pictures I saw that I realized that. So what you see, my worry is that those pictures are there, but it has been laced with glam, money, and success. So how do we bring it out of this?
Okay, you tell the full Majek Fashek story.
Let me take Dr. Bello and come to UBC. Dr. Bello, are you there? Hello, Dr. Bello from University of Ilorin. Are you there? I think our phone lines are giving us issues. BC, go ahead, please.
Yes, so I wanted to start by saying that most of the time we protect our children in lies. We don't tell them the truth. See your experiences now. It will get to a certain age, I will expect that you will share with your daughter. That see all this drink, you will buy it and show her. I drank them in school.
Been there, done that.
I've done it. So any conversation, anything you're worried about, come, let's have that. I will tell you, there's no life in it. If you want to try it, I will take you to where you will try it. You will see for yourself that there is no life in it. But most of the time, once you have passed that age and God saved you, you become a saint. All of a sudden, you become Mama Gio all of a sudden. And all your children see is the Holy Spirit say, yes, nobody came last.
Even if you are coming last. So when all the parents came first, who came last?
You are carrying the Bible, you are praying, you are not even having that real life conversation. So they don't see you as somebody they can relate to when it comes to that. We need to begin to speak the truth to our children. Another thing that causes most of this thing is emotional abandonment. We're all looking for money. We don't have real conversations with that. We don't know our children. When last did you sit down to say, I want to take a bath with you? I just want, your body is developing, I want to see. When last did we do that? Most of us don't have the time. We just feel I've provided everything for you. You are going to one of the best schools in the country. We go on vacation 3 times a year. You have everything. And those deep questions, those deep yearnings, sometimes these children, when they are growing up, want that mommy hug. They want that daddy to sit down and play ball with them. Those are the things that, show up their emotions. That when they get to a place where there's peer pressure, they're able to remember the friendship that they have with their parents and pull back. You were able to remember your family, and you were able to, at some point, you were able to pull back. Not many children have that.
And I remembered my mother's fierce face.
Yes, and you were able to pull back. Not many children have that. And you see, at the end of the day, they just resort to, who is that person? Who is that person that will just give me that sucker? Who is that drug that just make me feel like I'm alone? Most of them feel alone in the world.
Let me take
but because we don't talk to them, we don't know.
Our children, their friends.
Yes.
Social media.
It is their friends,
yes.
social media. So because we are not available, we are busy chasing this. So guess what?
Somebody has to chase.
Listen.
Somebody has to chase.
Guess what? We are living in a materialistic world. Our children are growing up in a materialistic world, and we are all to blame. When we look, they glamorize kidnapping.
Okay, how do you solve the problem? Let me come to Kelechi. I highlighted the problem.
Yes.
Solving is the issue. Kelechi, are you there? Sorry for keeping you for so long. Go ahead, please.
Moraya Uncle, good morning.
Morning.
You ladies are doing wonderfully well.
Thank you, sir.
I want to ask my sister from another mother, Adibo, a question. I want to ask her one question. But before I do that, I want to pass some complimentary remarks to YK and what's her name?
Mariam.
Our publisher. Congratulations for the book, for your book published.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And YK is the best female dressed TV panelist in Africa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, okay, to my question, I want to ask BC my question. Question. Now, you made, by your analysis, you made a kind of a comparative analysis.
Okay.
Hello?
Please.
Between westernization and our nativism, that is our culture.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in China, China and Japan, as intact as their culture, are there no traces of westernization? Western influence in their culture.
Of course.
And do you think that there are no moralities to acquire in westernization? That's just my question. Thank you very much.
So the thing is, when we copy, we don't copy the right things. I've had conversations with, I always mention this, I used to attend, that was my father's church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and most of the billionaires in that church raise their children whole. Like you see full-blown adults, they all marry as virgins, they have wealth, they are the ones in the best schools, and we see real family values entrenched in most of these children. But those are not the Americans that we see, and those are not the Americans that we copy. There are very good things we can get from westernization, but our ability to sift it and pick what works for us and pick the positives is where we have a problem. Yeah. So we copy hook, line, and sinker, copy the wrong things, and we don't use our brain to think and highlight and select. We need to do a lot of critical thinking. Will this work for me? What is the positivity in this? How can this make my culture better? What am I picking from this? We just pick. Whatever is glam, whatever is shown, and you know these people are very smart. They give you a particular narrative because they want to be in control. And then we go with the narrative and everybody's rushing in. So we need to do more. I know that Japan will definitely have picked some good things from Western culture, but because they know who they are and they have their own culture, they blend it. So they select and they blend. And that's, I think, what we need to start doing.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm told we have a caller. Akin from Okota. Good morning. Are you there?
I'm here.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I just want to participate in what
yes, go ahead.
You guys are doing this morning. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm happy to be here to be with you, Maya, and the rest of you this morning. I want to thank you for the good work you do. I just persisted this morning to make sure that I participate. This is my 102nd missed call I did to you. I persisted. But I appreciate what you guys are doing. I want to participate in this discussion because it has become a very serious issue right now. Can you hear me?
It's a bit slow, but go ahead, please. Go ahead, sir. Okay, all right. So I don't want us to fall into the trap of the constant narrative of blaming the parents. I mean, because that's the easiest thing to do. Oh, it's the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault. But yes, as much as I agree, it's the parents' fault. But your brothers are saying that Oman Ture be as in, even though this is how you're raised, you raise yourself. You know, there are things you learn. There's things that being streetwise smartens you up to make right choices. So the truth, our reality is that we've got to work. Our reality is that we got to raise, both parents got to work. The reality is that we want to have better experience for our children. Maybe I grew up in one small community. I'd like to live in a better society. I'd like to move from where I was to somewhere better. I'd like my children to go to a private school. I want my children to have a car to take them to school. We all want progress. We all want better lives. So are we going to say because we want to raise responsible children, we should pause our quest to have a better life for these children? I mean, how do we strike that balance where we raise responsible children and still acquire and become better and have better lives?
So I think what is important now is that parents of today have to sit back and weigh the options. There used to be a time, I talk about my mom being a widow really young, and she used to leave us for many hours because she had to go to work. And then TV raised us, but TV was so regulated. It would start at 4. It would start with the Sesame Street, taught you proper grammar and everything about school. Then at the end, there was Tales by Moonlight that would give you stories that would teach you moral lessons. But that's not what we have today. We now have TV and social media that is constantly fighting with the values that your parents are trying to teach you. So parents would now have to sit back and think, having one more car or having that vacation, is it more important right now than, you know, putting that particular job or particular time for job aside so I can spend more time with my children? I think that modern day parents would need to give up on a lot of the things that we have determined is important. Waike said something, we're living in a materialistic world. We used to be able to do with small. Now it has to be a minimum of 2 cars, a certain type of school, the fees that is being paid in that school. The schools even know that we are so moved by how much they ask us to pay that they keep increasing it because it does not make sense to me. Because when you now go to some of these schools, they're giving nearly the same as another school. But because they understand that this is what we value, that my child is in a school that we're paying this amount of money and your child is not in that school, that we have this sort of car, that the vacations that we're going on is really what we value. And then when we put our lives online, what we are putting online is really the material things that we have. How many of us are putting online some of the struggles that we're going through, or that our child just was able to wear a pair of socks? Mom, my child was able to tie his shoelace today. You know, those are not the things. But
you put the PS5.
Yes, I put the PS5. So parents today, modern parents, have to think about what is important, and that giving up some of the material things does not necessarily take away from our well-being in general.
If your child comes home with a Porsche,
why are you not?
And you don't take the Porsche from the child and sell it. I will
take
put
it back
your
to
education or your
Let me take this call. Like, I'll come back to you. Ken, are you there? Thanks for calling. Are you there?
We'll give you Porsche.
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, so my own take is this, really. I think it's a failure of everybody, really, the society. I don't really blame government per se. The other lady was saying the other time that, in India, because of their culture, and Japan, look, India has one of the largest rape cases in the world.
Yeah, too many.
Japan, some of the young people there are like going berserk and crazy in Japan, really. So it's not, you know, I don't want to be too religious. I would probably, if I want to be very religious, I'll say it really is a sign of the times, really. It behooves on all of us, really, and our parents, to monitor our children properly, you know, take our time to really watch over them, what we're supposed to really do as parents. Because you see all sorts of things. Everybody's glorifying all the things you see on the internet. Your child is barely 16 years old. You're giving them a phone. To do what, really? To go to Instagram and see all sorts of things happening. So, in my own view, I think it's a failure of parenting, really. Yeah. Because if you want your child, the Bible says, teach your child the way to. The child will not depart from it, really, if you do what you're supposed to do. I know sometimes you do everything and the child sees turns out bad. But I think the root of everything goes back to the parents. Like the lady also said about the latter day, the church, about you get good young adults there. You know, so that still comes back to buttress my point. I have 2 boys, and we try our best to guide them and teach them, expose them to what they need to know, and tell them that, look, all the things you see on television or the internet, it's not really, that's not what life is all about, really. Teach them what is important. If you keep telling them money is important, they will end up going that way, or they glorify.
You know, there are 2 stories that come to mind, and I'll come to you, BC. I always admire my mother-in-law because she's just a regular woman. You know, and I mean, my husband, when I say these things, he doesn't understand it because he comes from a home where mom and dad raised them. There was connection with the family. They were the nuclear family, but everybody knew what everybody was doing. Mother was involved, they had the children, they're eating together, stuff like that. I come from a polygamous family because it comes with its own peculiarities. But the fact that my mother had to work the fact that my mother had to build this business so that she can afford me this private school life. She had to do so much things just to make me like this one girl she's been waiting for many years. You know, she did so much. She sacrificed so much to give me a fantastic life. But when I look at my mom, the Lagos big girl there, you know, goes to parties. Every party in Lagos was there. Compared to my mother-in-law, just this plain Jane, home in the afternoon, raise kids. And I realized that today, she has 4 amazing children who have grown up to be solid adults. Solid. I'm not saying I'm not solid, but I know that there were some things I lost out in, and that with the connection. So if we look at both families, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what would I have had? Would I have preferred the lifestyle that my mother could afford me, or the just regular home? So sometimes that choice you said earlier, that we need to sit down. Should we just pull the brakes in this our quest for this nice lifestyle and say, they have the house, we have a normal car, you stay home, let's just have a basic stuff and raise our kids? Is that the kind of conversation we should start having? Or should we realize it's a new world? No matter what you do, you still kind of go and achieve. What do you say to that? Because I want us to do solutions right now.
I'll use my daughter as an example here. My daughter, she studied, she's a computer programmer. If you know that they are the people that are making
things happen now.
Right now. Yeah. So, but once she had her child, and then she said, I'm leaving my job. There is no beg, I didn't beg out. That's, madam, I didn't pay for you to...
Yeah, so...
But luckily or unluckily, COVID came, so she could work from home. It's the reason my daughter is still working. The day she has to go back to the office, she has told me, there's nothing you will say, Mommy. I will stay home and train my children. Let my husband make the money. So we have to
that's the modern day.
That's a modern day child.
Because the husband is able to make the money.
Because I can afford it, yeah.
So if the husband was not able to make the money,
what will she do?
He will stay home. And she will go to work. It's not mother or father. It is, we are a couple.
Yes.
One person is going to make the money. The other person will stay and raise the children. Because what is happening in the world of today, like I said, is that children are raising children. Friends are raising friends. Not parents raising. So it is what they are hearing from their friends, because we will give them phones, they can contact. In those days, it was not even not 9 note. You carry the phone with it. Today is mobile phone. In those days, it was even only the rich people that had phones. You couldn't even communicate with your friend unless you go to school.
Thing at the end of the day, it will tell you who was making phone. And you can keep an eye on that person. Yes.
You know that thing? My brother did that thing for me. When the bills come at the end of the month, you see, they now highlight all the calls to Nigeria. Like, hey, Mara, these are your bills.
Come and pay.
Yeah, come and pay. This is, he will highlight it for you. You just see at the end of the day, okay, this is your own bill. And I'm like, what kind of rubbish is this?
Yeah.
You see?
But I think, personally, I think we're forgetting that every child has his path. We can only be guides. Our job here is to guide. They are full-blown spirits. They have been brought here. Fortunately for us, they decided to come through us. We can only but guide. We can only guide because every child ultimately will be presented with a choice. Choose you this day who you will serve, good or evil. The ability of the child to stick to. See, no matter, I've seen like this sort of family you presented, your in-laws. I have another family looking at me right now. They were so good together. They are still together. They had 3 children. They raised them the same way. One went haywire. One is currently on drugs.
It's not about the raising.
It's not about the raising. This mother consistently cries every day. Where did I go wrong with this child? What did I not do with this child? They went to the same schools. They ate the same food. They went to the same prayer sessions. They did everything the same. Why is this one a thorn in my flesh? Because that full-blown spirit will be presented with a choice. And he or she will decide what choice to take. You turned out well because you decided to pick a good one. You turned out well because you decided to pick a good one.
But that's...
No, hold on.
It's relative.
Hold on. That's what I'm trying to say. With all the foundation put together, I'm sure if she had 3 sisters and they were raised together, one, may choose not to turn out that way. The mother cannot hang herself because of that child.
Absolutely.
The father cannot hang himself because of that child.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, you're saying that Mariah turned out well. It's relative.
Okay.
To other people, she didn't turn out well.
Yes, she's not.
Who will say she did not turn out well?
The people that are flying private jets and everything.
No, I'm not talking about material things now.
You that
I'm talking about, I believe that you define your success.
Yes.
So in her mind, she's successful. In my mind, I see her as successful. I look up to her.
I'm telling you.
Whoever is waiting for her to fly private jet before she's successful, that's their cup of tea. That's not my definition. But what I'm trying to say in essence is, you can only do what you can do for a child.
I think that's a fabulous point.
They will find their path.
Yes.
But do your best. Put in the work. And also ensure that you let these children understand that, when we're growing up, we had a lot of things to take our time. We were working. You will come back, you will sweep, you will wash your plate, you will do this, you will do. When you finish, you're exhausted, you've slept off. Where did you see phone to press? Our children now don't do dishes. They don't sweep. We have helps that do that for them. So they have enough time to fool around. We need to go back to that hard work. Every success that is not ingrained in hard work and good virtues always crash lands. You also asked the question, okay, have a call.
Yeah, have a call, because I don't want you to forget that point.
Okay.
Good morning, are you there?
I'm there.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Sorry for keeping you.
Yes,
Sam.
my name is Samuel. I'm calling from Owerri.
Yes.
To be sincere, you ladies are doing perfectly well this morning.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. VC, you're on fire. In fact, I've learned a lot from you this morning. In fact,
thank you.
And wow, you're a good mother. Thank you very much.
My scorecard has not come out.
I believe it's the sole responsibility of the parents to raise up a particular type of a child. I went through primary school, went through secondary school, went through the university. I saw a lot of my mates testing beer, the alcoholic beer. It never occurred to me, because of where I was coming from, how focused I was when I was in school. It never occurred to me that I can test a bottle of Star, a bottle of beer, a bottle of Hero, or what have you. It was later on, maybe after youth service, I can still remember after youth service in Abuja, before I tested one bottle through a friend. Now, it is the role of the parents to divide this work in the home. I love division. I'm married. I have kids. I have a way I have divided the work. Every parent must be ready. This one, you have to go and make the money. This one, you have to be keenly looking at the kids. In as much as it is the responsibility of the both parents, when the man, if the man is the one that is more on going out to go and make this money, you do that. Why the woman who is always more like being with the kids, we look at them keenly and know exactly what they are doing. When the man still come back, you say, okay, you are doing well, you are doing this, you are doing that. But the ladies more, I'm looking at the ladies in that aspect, they have this a connection with the children. Know everything they are doing. Just like this, talking about when last did you bath with your daughter. I was amazed. You take your daughter, let's go inside the bathroom naked. You look at her, look at what she's doing. The development and what have you, answer some certain questions. So these are the issues. We have to be more responsible for our things.
Thank you very much, Sam.
You do your own part.
Absolutely. You're very correct, Sam. Let me interrogate BC a bit, because scientists would argue that children come as a clean slate, tabula rasa. It's societal factors that begin to lay the software they become. So if a parent says, I have done my best, but there are factors within society that lets this one child become go haywire. There's something that happened that maybe the parents missed. There's something, maybe he was abused. Maybe something happened where he had bullying issues and he wasn't able to speak up. Something went wrong on the road to, is it Jerusalem, what they call it, on the road to Jericho. So the point is, I get that one child always goes off, but if we believe that these children...
Not always.
In some cases, that you do everything, can we still argue that something probably went wrong that made that child go haywire?
Well, there's something.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
It's possible. It's possible that you have missed something. I know this, a child comes tabula rasa is old knowledge. We now know that children are ingrained with the DNA of their parents. So all the things you have done in this life, there's somewhere in the DNA your child will pick from. Whether you are aware of it or not. They pick from the subconscious. Most of us in marriages are outplaying and replaying what our parents did without even knowing that we are playing their cassettes, not our own. Yes, so that's old knowledge. But the thing is, this is where I believe that the environment comes into play. This is why I believe that the support comes into play. This is why I believe that if it takes a village to raise a child. We used to be like that before. You see a child that is going haywire around you, and you're shouting, "Onye, who owns this child? God forbid, we cannot allow you to do this." Right now, everybody minds their business, as long as it's not my child that they are talking to. And we all pretend that our child is good.
Because parents like this, say, "Don't touch my child. Don't touch my child.
Don't beat my child." You can report my child. I can beat my child myself. I'm not saying I don't beat my children. I beat my children very well when they need it. But do not beat that child for me. Bring the child home and tell me what the child has done. In your presence, I will beat the child. Now me born them. Now me know where they pay me. Some people don't know how to beat. They will beat because they are not feeling the pain in the womb. But I was trying to say that this collectiveness that we used to enjoy as children, we no longer have it anymore. And we need to do more about that. We need to do more about being a brother's keeper. And, you know,
that is,
wait. Before I forget this point, you know, the schools will come and report that your child has done this. And the first thing you say is, my child can never do that. My child is not like that. And the teacher is telling you, this is what your child has been doing in school. Why don't you investigate as a parent?
Right, I want you to come in here, but let me take this call from Mohammed. Mohammed, are you there from Maiduguri?
Hello.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Well, good.
Amazing.
Fine, thank you. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Very clearly, Mohammed. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. I really appreciate you people. You people are giving us awareness.
Thank you, sir.
Especially guiding us and our children and how to raise a family. Please, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
Especially my other sister from Jos. She's giving us the way our people are being raised in the north and the kind of challenges we do have in the north.
Right.
So, thank you. May God bless you. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you too.
Yes, Wike, you're going to say something too.
Yes, I was going to say, because you are saying we don't act as a community anymore. Look, when I was growing up, we had no walls. There were no walls in houses.
Separating us.
You could see the next person's house. You could see, everybody could interact. Now, we all have high walls. Our lives have high walls. Hey. Our reality is high walls. That's our reality. So how are we going to face that reality? That is why it is the parents.
No.
Because now you can't say, sister from my neighbor next door, because your neighbor next door is not seeing what is happening inside your house, because your wall is too high to see what is happening inside your house.
I wanted to refer, to the thing about raising children and how one child may turn out different. And for many years, we did not factor in mental health. And, but thankfully, over time, we now understand how somehow somebody who's been raised with the same template, as you would say, for the rest of the child sort of turns out different. And now that people are questioning it, there are things that can happen clinically, and there are some things like experiences that can happen that somewhat changes the child. I believe a lot in nurturing. I don't think, I'm not so much a believer of someone already comes in, with what they need to. I feel that the parenting is important, the society or the community which they grow up is important, and then, of course, if there's some mental or health issues, that can also affect how that child eventually turns out. And because also life has changed in such a way that I would use your example of saying high walls, is that what is now required of modern parenting is that village that we used to have, modern parenting is requiring that you be the village for your child. You have to be the one that is there day in and day out, providing for the child. I understand our normal quest for, wanting to things better for our children. Sometimes we're out on the streets, not because we're even asking for a lot of material things, but because things are even more expensive. Just the basic now is so expensive. But the truth is, we need to sit back and redo this parenting. Right. I was talking to a parent in my son's school the other day. She's a much older parent, and she was saying to me her story of how she raised the older ones and a child that came much later in her, in her advanced years. And she said she did it differently. With the other two, she was hardly ever there. She was always at work. Even the school would want her to come for different activities. She could not do that. She couldn't afford to do that because she was always at work. And she feels there's a different kind of bond and connection with those two than the one that she had time for. She says, with this one, I was there for every event. There's a relationship, there's a connection. And for her, she would like to teach younger parents now that the best way to do it is to have that time to do that bonding. Some things can be put aside.
You know, Mariam, what you say just raises, just sets a light bulb within me, because one of the reasons why I resigned in 2019 was because I wanted to stay home with the kids.
Yes.
That was the objective.
Did you now stay
I didn't. Unfortunately, more work came.
Yeah.
And I'm working. And I mean, just this year, when we turned to January, and I had a conversation with my husband, I said, you know what? He said, this is not working. And I keep complaining. I said, I'm tired. I'm tired of this constantly having these like multiple things to do, because the objective was to have more time. And it's like even worse. So that's the reality that we face. Yeah. We are faced with all these things. And we're doing Saturdays that I want to be home. There's one social media saying, video, please come and we're having IG Live, please come and be our guest on Kiniko. You spend 2 hours. And that one say, come for this photo shoot. But there's always something.
Yeah. So, Mariah,
you have to make your choice.
If you have to.
You have to make your choice. Which one is important? Must I go to every single one?
So
that's the choice you have to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just also wanted to add this point. You know, when then would hear people that are brought up in broken homes, there's something different about them, or people who were brought up, lose a parent. Right. Either you lose a father or a mother, there's a difference. And you would hear now a lot of people say, there's really no difference. The truth is, now I understand why the difference is there. It's because the way it's meant to work, one person should be out there doing all the work of getting material things back home so that the people can survive. And there has to be someone at home to nurture.
Yes.
When one of that falls off, that person that's meant to nurture now has to do the work of the one that's going out. And that is how it affects the children. Not that because I'm from a broken home, my mother is a bad person or my father is a bad person. It's because that dynamic has now been, you know, it's now broken. You now have to look for a different dynamic, and it may have some negative impact on the way you're raising the children.
So we cannot avoid. Okay.
I was just going to say, do you know that there is a difference between your voice and your husband's voice?
Oh, yes.
When you talk to your, when you shout at your child, they may still do it.
Oh,
if your husband says, huh? Just that, baby.
Husband is so hands-on, like me, so much more hands-on than me. Like once he enters, they are so scared of him. Like once Brown comes, like everybody falls in line.
It's the voice.
Falls in line.
The male voice.
It's me they take advantage of.
The male voice has been conditioned to make you hear.
Yeah.
The female voice is still. How you say, oh, like this.
With me, they negotiate with me. With their child, they just do it.
Yes.
So I was going to say that, you know, with our economic realities, sitting at home will be luxury for some people. Not everybody can afford. Sometimes both of you need to work. So you just have the base. It's not like you're working to have 2 cars. You're working to even buy a bicycle. That's how bad it has become. There's no purchasing power. We know that already. So people need to find a way to adjust. And if you must work, you must find a balance. What I see most of the time is that we allow the children to be raised by the women because you are the nurturer. It's your job to go to their schools for PTA, for open day, for it's me, I have to just work. But if you understand the dynamics between you and your husband, that we are in this together, we have to collectively raise these children, then if the days you can take off to attend PTA, that's fine. The other time for this child, I would take another off. I remember recently my son was doing his portfolio presentation in school, and he wasn't expecting me to come because I've been very busy lately. So he was saying, I said, okay, present to me, let me see what you have. And he says, Mommy, I'm really shy. I'm like, you? That's not the son I know. My son will pick up microphone in church and be talking testimony that they did not ask him. So when did you not become shy? I say, I don't know, I'm just shy. None of you are going to come. I now said, I'm actually coming. That day is my off. I've taken off on TV and I'm coming for your the light I saw in his eyes. I was like, whoa. And this is where the other partner always fills in. So when I'm not available to do the outing, the other partner goes and presents. So somebody is at every point in time. There's a parent. When you look in the crowd, and when he was presenting and he looked at me and I gave him that smile, it lit up his confidence, and he did it well. Absolutely. So it's a balance. I still hear some young men who say it's the woman's job to follow these children around, to raise them, to wash their diaper. It's not the woman's job. It's our job together. Let's do this together.
We need to wrap up. I'd like us to have final thoughts on this because this conversation started with the video we saw of two youngsters who seemingly were high on drugs. We're not really sure exactly what kind of drugs, although the video had said marijuana, but we're not sure. But we heard that they've been sedated. They actually slit their wrists and they were bleeding. We saw blood in the video. And they were sedated and taken to the hospital where they're being recuperating. So this video is what started this conversation on what could lead these two young adults to the point where they are butt naked walking around VGC. And you could have, some had said maybe it's rituals, others are saying maybe it's drugs. Then we brought it right back to parenting. And I'd like to hear your final thoughts on this as we speak to parents, because there are many parents who've done everything right within their powers to raise these kids. And they're like, and they're having to face the kids turn out this way and are saying, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, right? But you have your scorecard today. We don't have our scorecards yet.
Yes,
you have your scorecard, so maybe we should hear from you.
I just thank my creator that my daughter turned out well, but I will not say that I didn't make sacrifices. I did. I was still going on tour, and I love to travel. I'm a traveling person. I've been all over the world. I could do it when my mother was alive and she was there for my child. Once my mother passed on, I relinquished it and faced my child because I felt I had to be there for her. No, I faced another business. Not that I didn't face another business or that I sat down at home. No, I now said, okay, let me build up the shrine. And I did that.
But you were present.
I was present. So I was taking my daughter to school in the mornings. I was picking her from school. If I had to go to the office, she would sit down with me, then we'll go home together. So I tried to be with her at every point. When she needed lessons, I got her lesson teacher. So I think try and be as present as you can. Realistically as you can. You know, be present in your child's life or your children's lives. And I think if one goes off the wrong way, it's not really your fault. You just
move on.
Final words on this.
One thing I've learned is every time we talk about making your children your friends, really sometimes you just feel that is when you get them stuff. And I'm learning that it is a daily job. You have to be involved with them. They are drawing a Barbie doll. You have to say, oh, yes, I like the color yellow. You have to be involved to that level. Then that trust that comes with friendship is built then. When they see that you are interested and excited about the things that excite them. Now, when it's even easier to form that friendship, for a lot of parents that have young children, this is the time to grab them. This is the time that you can be friends with them. Because their expectations are quite minimal right now. And eventually, God willing, you know, that would go a long way in helping you have a child that can depend on you. Even when things are so tough outside, they can still come back to you and have a conversation with you about their lives.
So I would like to talk to the young people. You are responsible for your life, no matter what happens, no matter what is thrown at you. Some people have been born and their parents disappeared on them and they found their way. So if you have both parents, it is not for us to keep blaming your parents for a young adult like you. You know right and wrong. You should be able to make that decision for yourself. Ultimately, you will bear the consequences of whatever actions you take as a young adult.
And for me, I'll just say, listen, we're all work in progress. We don't have all the right answers. We're all learning and raising and relearning and learning new things. So every step of the way, continue to reevaluate yourself and change steps anytime. It's never too late to retrace your steps to raising your child. That's all we can take.
Okay, have we closed? I just wanted to say one small thing, that couple, I think, should go for mental evaluation. It's not a matter of punishment or jail. They really need to find out what happened.
And let's find out who sold the drugs to them and catch the person.
All right, that's all we can take on the show today. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.